So Perfect Effect, on their Facebook page, teased at a future project that they're going to be working on from the third-party side of things. They recently did their Beast Gorilla, which is Beast Gorilla Optimal Optimus, which was very successful, very cool, did a very good job. And now they're showing the other side of that coin from that same Season 3 Beast Wars era. They're showing their Perfect Effect Perfect Beast Transmetal 2 Megatron. So, interesting choice. I guess they want to pick something that'll oppose that Optimal Optimus instead of going for the smaller, more Megatrons of the previous two designs of the original and the original Transmetal 1. No price has been given yet. It's a kind of shadowed, photoshopped image here, so we don't know much about it. But that being said, I figured we could take this opportunity to then just do a quick discussion on what we would like to see from a masterpiece scale, or alternatively a high-end third-party release related to Beast characters. So what would you like to see done that hasn't been done yet?
Let's see. I want to see probably a Rat Trap, personally. I mean, even though the Deluxe Generations one is like pretty perfect, I think I kind of want to see the rat part kind of more stuffed in more, where he becomes more svelte. With that said, also Transmetal Rat Trap.
Yeah, I think that's just desperately needed.
I mean, again, even though the original one is still amazing.
The original one is near perfect, but it's a bad product of time, I guess is the best way to put it. Anyone who's owned a Transmetal Rat Trap knows that toy flakes like crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I challenge anyone out there that says, "Oh, mine's perfect." Yeah, okay, go rub that red chrome right now.
Yeah.
On a toy that's meant to be twisted and turned and transformed. Even the Japanese one has the same problem. It's
I don't know if there was a way to leave off the chrome and still make it look like that.
Unfortunately, no.
And
the problem is with Transmetals, that's the look.
I mean, like
that's that chrome look.
Some kind of plastic where you get like the little gold, the little silvery flakes in there. I've seen that with some toys where they do that instead, and I'm willing to compromise with that personally. I got some other ones. Transmetal 2 Cheetor.
Yes.
I don't feel that original toy is spot on, or it's just very limiting with what you can do with it.
I was not satisfied with that one either. I remember getting it. I went to the States to pick it up, and after loving the first Cheetor, loving the second Cheetor, and then this one, I was just like, And it was a shame because on the show, that looked like such a cool, badass design.
Yeah, exactly.
With the gun and everything, and this one just didn't get it.
Like, it had the aesthetics really well, but just the posing, the playability of it didn't feel fun.
I remember reading somewhere years ago that I think it was Dave Van Domlin's website, and this is like the old fandom. I remember reading somewhere that there was plans with that Cheetor and a few others to have some kind of Matrix gimmick.
Right. So that's what was on the shoulder and stuff?
Exactly. That's why we had the spark chamber thing.
Right.
And the rumor was that originally Cheetor was supposed to have the gimmick in his chest, and that's why it was like almost like a hunchback kind of cat. Like if you noticed like how the design of his cat mode was very, I don't know how to even describe it. It was very hunchbacky, and the gimmick was like they were going to have it inside his...
The arch in his back was over exaggerated.
Yeah, it was really like
he was screeching at something like
It was very weird, and the rumor was that he was going to have some kind of Matrix chamber gimmick and stuff, and then in the end it got engineered out, and then through the the development process, we ended with the final product that we have today with the spark chambers and the spark gimmick, and it clearly looks like it was something that suffered from its design too many cooks. I don't know
Yeah.
how to describe it. Like, it's just too many things happened with it, and that was the final product. And while it looked good in the show, the final product didn't look as good in the toy, and which is a shame because I felt that almost all season 2 and season 3 Beast Wars toys, because they were made, well, I'll get into it with my choices too, but I almost felt all the ones that were made after the fact more or less hit them out of the park,
Right.
with the exception of that Cheetor, which again, if Dave Van Domlin's early posts back in the day, if they were true, makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
Any others?
Yeah, I got 3 others. I'm gonna try to.
Nice. No, that's fine. That's cool.
I got. So this is one. This is one I would see. I would say like, I could see them probably doing like one of them first, and then later on it'll be like a slight tweak / add-on. So Pterosaur and Starscream Pterosaur, like Ghost of Starscream Pterosaur kind of deal. Because I know that I think he had shoulder guns at one point.
Yes, he did. He had shoulder cannons.
He had shoulder
Pterosaur at
cannons,
one point.
and then when Starscream took him over, his
Well, Starscream took over Waspinator.
oh my bad. No, because oh well. All right, okay, still Pterosaur, but like you would upgrade him with the extra weapons he had. There was one episode where he had the regular pistol, and then I think he got some upgrade, or he had the rifle.
There was an episode called Power Surge.
Yeah.
Where he found a hidden cache. He found a hidden cache of Energon on this floating island, and he would go visit it and get like super jacked.
Yeah.
And his small regular gun now was like this huge cannon.
This huge rifle.
And same thing, he had like 2 shoulder cannons that were like, it's like everything was on roids.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny because like the episode almost like, it's like he had roid rage and then he like had like withdrawal.
Yeah.
And he needed to constantly go back to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I could see that. That's something that I guess we could talk about it now.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think we have a good version of that toy. That toy was just like a simple flip changer.
It's something I could we could talk about it now, I guess.
Okay.
When we were working on the BotCon 2016 box set, and we were looking for, you always want a cheap repaint of something. We were thinking of doing, because Pterosaur was the free figure.
Right.
We were thinking of doing like a Power Surge clear purple Pterosaur as like another extra figure for people to purchase. And obviously, it was just something that was on the, I think Jesse Witherich, it was his idea, wasn't mine for sure. And I remember like just, what if we did like a Pterosaur 3-pack where it's like Pterosaur's the free figure, but then you got Laserbeak, Fractal, and Power Surge Pterosaur in an Army Builder 3-pack. Just with bullshitting ideas.
Yeah. Just throwing anything out there, see what sticks. Yeah.
But yeah, like
brainstorming.
That's like that Power Surge Pterosaur in my mind is always a repaint consideration with that character. Because that character, that mold specifically, the original Beast Wars Pterosaur, itself has 2 other repaint brothers, if you will.
Yeah.
In the purple one being, like purple and red being Laserbeak, which was called Hydra in Japan, and Fractal, which was a BotCon 2000, it's going to be 1998, I want to say, exclusive. I might be wrong, 98 or 97. But it was a green repaint in that case.
Okay.
And we ended up getting that Fractal repaint from the Transformer Collector Club. So, yeah. But anyways, any others?
Then I have Silverbolt with articulated feathers and probably more articulated wings. That's what I would hope.
Yeah, he was pretty dead on the original toy. I do agree that was the one. That was the one thing lacking from the original Fusor, where it didn't, with the way that it was articulated in the show. I almost feel like the way that you could have improved it, like how you have sometimes you have like rubbery toys that have like a wire built into them.
Oh, okay.
Like if you would have done that for the wings, you would have got that kind of like artificial articulation.
I think that would have been cool, but then I feel I don't like that because I know the wire inside would break at a certain point.
At some point,
if you do it too much, and then I think it would be very difficult to get the gun gimmick in there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. The missile
Yeah, the
gimmick.
missile gimmick would be very difficult.
Yeah, that's true.
And my last one. Or did you have anything else to say for Silverbolt?
Oh, no. I'll get to mine after.
And my last one, Megatron 1. So, Purple Megatron and Transmetal Megatron.
Well,
and
I think, Transmetal Megatron's another one that, much like Rat Trap, because of the test of time, you need to have an updated version of that, because the original toy, while it was a great toy, unfortunately due to GPS and even like people always say the Japan, and I own the Japanese one also. The Japanese version doesn't suffer from the same GPS issues as the American version, but it doesn't match the colors of the show. So as a result, because of it. So unfortunately, it'd be nice to have an updated version of that character.
And I would say probably with the Transmetal one, try and stay away from. I don't know if we ever solved the chemical compound for the GPS for the brown.
It's according to Aeronaut, who's the host of the TFCon Faction Feud. He hosts it with me. He does metallurgy and he knows this kind of stuff. And he said that the primary reason with GPS and what happens is just when that toy is made, even when it was brand new, it was doomed from the beginning. Because the way that they achieve that color of plastic is they have to fracture it. And so over years, oxygen gets in between the fractures and it expands.
Right.
And there's no environment you could put it in that's going to help it, because and I know this for a fact, I broke my original Transmetal 1 Megatron, bought a brand new one off of eBay, and broke that one 5 seconds after getting it in the mail and being furious.
Well, yeah, because those things aren't, vacuum sealed.
Well, they're not vacuum sealed, and on top of that, it was doomed. Like it's a figure that it held up throughout those years, and then it reaches a certain age that now it's gonna have that problem. It's the same thing with the Rat Trap. The Rat Trap with the flaking. The first couple of years or 3 years, it's fine, but then sooner or later, oxygen gets under that chrome, and it's specifically that Rat Trap. It's not like Cheetor suffers from it, or Depth Charge, or any of the others. Just specifically that Rat Trap. There's a few other Beast Machine toys that suffer from the same thing, but the Rat Trap, unfortunately, is the biggest perpetrator of that. It's just same thing with that Megatron, where I had this problem. Finally got a third one from a garage sale, no less. And just kept it in robot mode, never messed with it again. And it's just sitting in my collection.
So, but for that Transmetal, I don't know if there was either a way to achieve the color, or just say, you know what, screw it, we're not doing this color. We'll just do something else.
Today, they're able to do it without having to use that kind of plastic anymore.
Right.
Things like GPS isn't really a thing anymore because Hasbro has learned their lesson. And alternatively Takara as a result. The last reported example of GPS to my knowledge was 2008 movie Scorponok. Not the deluxe version, the Legends one, the Legend scale one, which was like the small one.
Right.
His tail was made out of GPS. And mine broke like nothing. So like caramel, like hard caramel, just like crumbled.
And then I think with Megatron, I would remove, like, if I was to compare it to the original toy, the original Barney toy, joke.
Yeah, purple dinosaur.
Get rid of the side cannons, maybe. We don't really need those.
Well, get rid of anything that really wasn't in the show, even the mutant head gimmick.
Mutant head,
save that for
claw
the
hand, the claw hand, tail hand. The gimmick?
Well, considering originally both of those in the show were depicted as removable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much the beast hand, but the claw hand was. So that's something. Again, that was another gimmick that, while the original G1, the original Beast Wars toy wasn't able to escape that. When they did the Robot Masters version, which was a deluxe scale, they managed to engineer that out. So it is possible. And anything, I always feel, anything is possible now when you give it just enough of a price point.
Right.
When you, like, if anything, like, something like like Star Saber or or Shockwave. They showed me that you could take perfection that already existed and give it a price point that's even more crazier, or even Soundwave, even Masterpiece Soundwave. You take something that was already more or less perfection, and then you give it more of a price point, and then you could make it even more perfect,
Yeah.
and then give it even more bells and whistles. So then you could give them a rubber ducky, and then you could give them, golden discs made out of die cast. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, that's my list. That was what I was able to think of on the fly. I didn't even think of Beast Wars Neo or anything like that. I just kind of stuck.
No, I honestly think that if, like, realistically, I think that if I mean, like, you could always then like jump into the non-show characters, but I think we have to look at it more realistically of what they would do.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they would dive into Beast Wars Neo, Beast Wars Second, or non-show characters just yet, if at all, at any point. For me personally, I look at it more from a logical standpoint, where I go like, well, who really needs that job done? Because I look at, like, Cheetor was a pretty good job, the original toy, but obviously any of those Season 1 characters. Like, when I look at Season 2, I look at, like, Cheetor and I go, you know what? If the face was better, but it's still pretty darn good. It can't do the hand-together blaster gimmick
that
he
toy?
does in the show. Yeah, well, you can, but you have to cheat, kind of.
Yeah, I think it works. I think the cheat works.
It's a weird way to do it.
It's the most show-accurate toy. I love it.
Then you have, like, Tarantulas, pretty freaking dead on. Like, I think he's probably the most dead on, in my opinion, of the deluxes.
Which one, Transmetal or?
Yeah, Transmetal Tarantula.
Okay, I thought you were just saying regular one. I was like,
no.
I think he means.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at, though. Like, all the Season 2 toys and beyond more or less do a really good job at representing, because all those toys were engineered alongside with the show.
Yeah.
And so they really were self-conscious of that, to really go with accuracy from the product, where with Season 1, the toys were made first, and they were made first with a mutant head gimmick and all kinds of other stuff, where they weren't really sure what Beast Wars was going to be. Is this a continuation of G1? Is this really Optimus Prime? They didn't really know then. So when they did Beast Wars the show, they also kind of were like Fluoro Deary, where they also got kind of artistic with the designs. So Dinobot didn't really look like his actual deluxe toy, and same thing with Rhinox, and Cheetor had little twists and turns that looked a little different. So a lot of those, I feel, need to get revisited. And already, I mean, we have our Voyager Rhinox from Generations that does a great job of making that old Beast Wars toy obsolete.
Oh, it needs to be obsolete so bad.
Oh yeah,
so bad.
We got our Optimus Primal that again does the job, and then ironically, they then gave us a toy that becomes show accurate, and it's a toy accurate in itself with the mutant head. Like, it went backwards, so I think we're going to see a little bit of that maybe.
You
with
like
every
mutant heads?
repaint.
Here, we got your mutant head. Shut up.
It's like, remember how we were trying to not be toy accurate and be more show accurate? Yeah, we just went backwards now. So, and then we got this. We have a Dinobot coming that we discussed, in a previous podcast a while back. So that's going to get done. Cheetor already got done. So we more or less have, and we have a deluxe Rat Trap. I do agree. I personally feel Rat Trap probably should get a proper Masterpiece treatment. I feel that we could do something that just gets that last pop of aesthetic that looks right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll happen right away, because we're still so fresh with the Generations toy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Japan. And the funny thing is when the Beast Wars Primal came out, the Masterpiece one, they went about reissuing the Japanese Rat Trap.
Oh, no way.
Well, because he had a gimmick and stuff, where he
okay.
could fit on the back and everything. So they kind of tie the two characters together,
right?
Like the two toys together, where I almost feel like I worry that there's no intent to do a Rat Trap, because this one is going to be. But who knows? If you put enough distance between the two toys, they might look at like what they did with the Bumblebee scale from Masterpiece and go, hey, we'll do a Rat Trap now. it'll be worth it, and they'll. I feel that they could do a good job, kind of like getting rid of that tail, like the tail in the robot mode.
Yeah, again, the tail is a wire gimmick,
Yeah,
So it's just like,
I think they could have, again, with enough price point, you could do anything. So I feel like they could really get rid of that tail and do a more sleeker look that looks a lot more like the show model.
Right.
I look at the Cheetor and go, man, they really went all out on that Cheetor to make it show accurate. So I kind of want this. Oh, it looks amazing! Like from the faces to everything to the faux chest. Like they managed to do everything there that really worked well. So I kind of expect the same of that Rat Trap. I feel that if they did a Rat Trap, they could do it. And then another one is, I want my Tigatron. I want a proper Tigatron that isn't just a Cheetor repaint.
Which is funny because I feel like the Tigatron is more accurate to the show because it looks like it's a beefier cat. The toy itself is a more beefier cat. So Cheetor looks weird because he's supposed to be a cheetah in cat mode, but his legs are all chunky. And then Tigatron looks
Cheetor's
spot
like a
on.
super buff cat in the toy. So it's like, and no, I totally agree with you. And the thing is with Tigatron especially is, the way, again, going back to what Mainframe did with those designs was, they gave him a very unique looking alt mode where it was a tiger. It was a Siberian tiger with that cowl, if you will, for his head and everything that looked so nice. And going into the robot mode, he had a unique, very samurai kind of head sculpt. He had the same weapons as Cheetor, but it's just, I could really see them doing a very, he's not going to be a retool of Cheetor. He'll have the same kind of engineering tricks that were used with Cheetor, but he'll be a straight up brand new mold from the ground up. And in the same way that you could you could look at a Jazz, and then you could look at Prowl,
right.
And even though the general transformation is very similar except for the legs a little bit, but the general transformation is more or less the same, but it's two different molds from the ground up. It's kind of the same thing with Tigatron to Cheetor, where I really would love to finally have that definitive Tigatron toy, because unfortunately up to this point every single Tigatron toy, more or less, with the exception of, like, let's say the BotCon stuff, but everything up to this point has always been a Cheetor repaint, and it's always grounded in being a Cheetor repaint. And I want to have something that just has that wide samurai head, that unique tiger, face.
Do you think that they'll add in like samurai swords or something?
If they want to bulk out the figure, the way that I'll see it is, they'll give the two weapons like what Cheetor has, because he had more of like a flame retardant gun, I guess, with ice that he had, instead of it just being his gut cannon.
Yeah.
Which was like a pulse cannon. I think that if
it was like the tail end, right? It was like the tail.
Well, it was
kind of used.
Like that gun didn't really get used that much.
It got used once for some reason. I was like, oh, he's using it.
I know that Tigatron, in his very first appearance, he had a wrist missile kind of thing going, which he only used in like one or two episodes. So they might engineer that into his hands, just to give him a little something different,
right,
that Cheetor didn't have. But otherwise, to give him the samurai swords, that was something from the mangas, which had a very unique,
take on him,
artistic look to it.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Where, let's put it this way: the fact that we got G2 Sideswipe and his craziness, I would not be surprised if, let's say, down the line we get that Tigatron.
His craziness or his 90s-ness?
Well, yeah. I could see, and that's the ironic thing, because it's like a 90s thing with Tigatron also, where I could see that if that Tigatron is successful,
right,
let's say somehow it does very well, I could see them going, you know what, let's take that Tigatron and let's give him a crazy robot head that's accurate to how it looked in that manga version. And it's totally a shot in the dark, because that would be nuts if they did that. But the later Beast Wars Season 1 characters like Air Razor and Inferno were much like the Season 2 characters, where they didn't really need a new toy because their original toys were pretty dead on to begin with. But again, going back to, like, Tarantulas, just like in the case of Cheetor, doomed with, you know, that Tigatron repaint, we need a Masterpiece Black Arachnia.
Yeah.
You know? And if that animated repaint from the Legends line showed us anything, it could happen. The engineering is there.
Yep.
We just need that price point. We need that price point. We need that budget, and it could happen. And it could happen. It'll look great, and that's one I really would push for. And the last one that I would really want, in all honesty, and you mentioned already, make a proper Pterosaur. The original Beast Wars Pterosaur, unfortunately, was vastly different from his show counterpart because of his price point. He was a basic scale toy, a flip changer, so he just kind of flipped, and the big wings just had to stay on the toy. They could, if it was a little more of a higher price point, they could have put a few more joints, and those wings could have folded up behind him.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't in the cards. So, and he was a character that, hey, spoiler guys, if you haven't seen Beast Wars, shame on you, but died in Season 2. So they weren't too concerned about giving him something super accurate, I guess, down the line.
Right.
So, but it's something that if they ever do decide to tackle that character, again, you give him that Masterpiece price point, it could finally happen. And that's not a complicated transformation either.
No, not at all.
So that's something that should be pretty easy to tackle. The one good thing is the Beast Wars toys in general, half the job is really already done. It's not like, I mean, when they did Masterpiece Ironhide, the original G1 Ironhide,
yeah,
they had to revisit a lot of ideas that have been done already in the past that weren't Ironhide to get an idea of what to do with it, because the original G1 Ironhide and his show counterpart, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's two apples and oranges. So I mean, like when they did that Masterpiece Ironhide, they didn't look at G1 Ironhide for inspiration. They looked at like Towline from Energon. They looked at a lot of different other van kind of Transformers, and even a little bit probably even the Classics version, before they really tackled that character. Where these Beast Wars ones, a lot of them already kind of are giving them the right guide. It's more just going like, all right, we got half the job here. Just put a little, put some joints here, put some joints there, get rid of a mutant head gimmick, and you're good to go. So a lot of them won't be too difficult. If anything, it's just more of them trying to figure out how do we have fun with this, and that goes into the repaints afterwards,
right?
Because you could have like that clear Pterosaur Power Surge repaint. You could have a Tigatron going for his manga look. You could have, like again what we already got with Optimus Primal. We're going to get that Supreme Commander Primal, which is based off of the toy version with the mutant head. And then going into, look, we have a Dinobot coming. You could do a Grimlock finally, the white repaint, that won't suffer from the GPS that the original toy did. Same thing with the Cheetor. You could do a Shadow Panther repaint, which I'm surprised they haven't even planned or announced something yet of that.
They probably do, but they're just not going to show off the whole hands. They still have a HasCon to go through.
They're gonna maybe they'll wait till until the Dinobot's released or something, and then they'll tease it with the Dinobot release.
Or it might be like after Christmas or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And but that's just it. So that's the good thing with a lot of these Beast Wars toys, was Beast Wars toys were around that time where the character repaints were prevalent. So a lot of these Beast Wars characters have repaint brothers.
Right.
Something that, like, again, unfortunately Hot Rod suffers from, where it's like after you do that black repaint, where do you go?
Yeah. Unless you retool
or
it
like
or something.
Star Saber's the same thing. Like, what do you do with Star Saber, the Masterpiece? There's nothing you could do with that. You could do an evil version, but that's, it's you can't always just throw black on a character and say new toy.
Yeah.
Like it's especially when you're talking a Masterpiece where you expect people to buy this at that price point. So at least with Beast Wars, there's a built-in set of characters. With Primal, you got, I'm surprised they even went with the Supreme Commander direction, because you have the the Burning Convoy, which is like a red repaint, which was used in the anime series. There's so many different ways you could go about it. Even if they want to be really clever with the universe repaint, when they did the Rastafarian colors, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, there's different directions you could go with each mold. Same thing with Black Arachnia. She had like a grayish kind of black color scheme in the episode Other Voices, I think it was. No, it was called the Trigger Part 1 and 2, where she was controlling that floating island.
Oh, yeah.
And she was powered up, and she had like a gray repaint. Now, granted, that's a stretch to do a repaint just based off of half of an episode of a color scheme, but it shows that there's a lot of things you could pull into. And ultimately, in the end, like, you had like the episode Call of the Wild, where everyone had red eyes. You know, there's so much that you could do. And again, we got the Cheetor. We saw how much love and effort was put into that. We got the Primal. We saw how much love and effort was put into that. I'm really curious what they're going to do with this Dinobot, because Dinobot is a larger character. Like, he's slightly taller than Optimus Primal. So I'm really curious what the price point's going to be, how much they're going to put into him, what extras he's going to come with.
And the scale.
And it'll give... Yeah, and the scale. And it'll really give me a good idea then going forward of what they have planned with future characters. Personally, if I had to pick one to be the next one, I'd like to see Tigatron.
Nice.
That would be Tigatron, and then possibly Black Arachnia. Like, those are the two unfortunate repaints, which were just like, well, we got to make new characters. All right, repaint Cheetor, repaint repaint Tarantulas.
Yeah.
You know? Like, those are two guys that need updates. More so Tigatron. I feel Tigatron has really gotten the short end of the stick the past decade and a half. No, I mean, I was on the forefront of working on a Tigatron exclusive with BotCon, and we got what we got, and it was okay. Sorry, Pete, I'm not a fan. You know, it wasn't that great. You know, like, and I really like that character, so I would really like him to have justice done in a good toy.